Hello, YouTubers. This is guitarist Denis Taaffe. I'm in my home studio, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Amps and Speaker Cabinets. Okay, now, in a fairly recent video, in the past, I had gotten a mystery speaker. And this mystery speaker, unbranded, right? I'm not sure what it is exactly. However, I have a suspicion it may be out of a Marshall 4x12 cabinet. Right? But who knows? And if you're a subscriber, you may have remember that I had put the mystery speaker into a crate homemade cabinet, which was originally just a crate combo amp, and electronics had all kinds of problems and things. So the guy pulled it and just made it a 1x12 open back cabinet. In fact, it has no real back, right? It's just a 1x12 cabinet. And I had done a video on this cabinet with a mystery speaker. Sounded pretty good. But recently, I had acquired a seismic audio, right, 1x12 cabinet, which is kind of open back or can be a closed back cabinet. So I thought, well, I wonder what would happen to the mystery speaker, how it would sound, right, in the seismic audio cabinet. So, in a scientific test, right, I first did a recording with the crate open back cabinet with the mystery speaker, and then I took the mystery speaker out of the crate cabinet and installed it in the seismic audio cabinet, right, which is a larger cabinet than the crate. The crate is rather small, you know, whereas the seismic audio is much bigger. And I wondered, well, what kind of difference would it make, really? Does size matter? Well, let's take a listen to the results. So in my test, the results were rather surprising. Okay, First, the crate cabinet sounded fine, sounded good. And then, when I switched it to the seismic audio cabinet, which is a bigger cabinet, all of a sudden, one, it was much louder, and two, definitely had more bass. And since the mystery speaker is kind of bright to begin with, it kind of tamed that brightness a little bit. And my conclusion was that for recording, that the size of the cabinet didn't make all that much difference. It made a little difference, especially in the low end. Added a little more low end. But I didn't find much of a change in the mids or highs at all, surprisingly. So for recording, it didn't really make all that difference. In other words, you can record with a smaller cabinet, and doesn't make all that big a difference. I mean, it makes a little difference, I guess, in the low end, of what the microphone picks up if you're miking it. But I found that the big difference was in the room itself. In other words, for live use, if you like, as opposed to just recording, a much bigger, louder sound, lots more low end, and kind of filled the room more as well. So that was very interesting to me. Now listen, if I had to do the scientific test all over again, I would have maybe moved the camera so that I wasn't as close to the crate cabinet as I was to the seismic audio, which was kind of further away. Definitely made a difference. And what's funny about that is I went out of my way. Don't move the camera, right? Try to keep it as scientific as possible, But I was quite surprised at how the kind of, for recording wise, both cabinets sounded good there, didn't make all that much of a difference, at least for being close to mic. I had the microphone pretty close, quite surprising, really, I think. So there's the big conclusion. Is that basically for recording, you can record with a smaller cabinet, and it's not going to affect the sound all that much. But in the room, it makes a huge difference, live especially. At least that's what I took away from it. Maybe you have different opinions, what have you. You can post them in the comments. What did you hear? For personal sound and satisfaction, I think the bigger cabinet wins out. But I found that it just didn't have as drastic a change recording-wise. Which would kind of make sense in a way. Yes, it added a little bit more bass. But overall, especially if you had it in a mix or what have you, the difference wasn't all that drastic, really. All right, so there you go. There's my scientific test of one speaker, two cabinets, both 1x12s. Okay, very good. See you next time. Bye.